Greetings, my fellow YouTubers. This is a shot of whiskey, and it is spring break for me. Yay! So, once again, I took a couple of classes at the college that I work at, one of which actually was writing for the web. That was actually the title. We made WordPress sites and posted up various material related to a subject. Mine was about being MGTOW. Which my instructor had no idea what the hell that was. So when I explained it to her and showed her some of the materials, she actually was in full agreement with going MGTOW. She was like, yeah, in today's society, men really do have it rough. So, awesome. But that's not what this video is about. I'll provide a link in the description below in case you guys want to see it. Keep in mind I was focusing on content, not the visual quality. The website itself looks like shit. Anyways, this video was inspired by a post that a friend of mine had put on her Facebook page. Now, she is left, I am right, but neither one of us are so extreme that we can't be reasonable human beings. So, she and I do get along as a result of that. Anyways, the post that she did, she had some images put on DeviantArt, and I didn't think to grab the name of the person at the time. So, if by some bizarre chance any of you know who this is, or if you are who the artist is, please let me know. I will credit you. But the idea of it, and I like the idea, they took Disney characters and drew them doing protests for different themes. You know, that's a pretty neat idea. Even though some of the subject material I don't agree with, I still like the idea. And the quality of the artwork actually isn't that bad. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first one. And I did rate these for the most part from what I agree with the most to the least agreed with a little bit of negotiable breathing room. But anyways, here's the first one. So Mulan and Shang, I believe was his name. It's been a while since I've seen the movie, so I may be remembering his name wrong. They are representing the LGBT community with this queer power kind of thing. I like this. They're both pissed off, which, I mean, they're protesting, so they probably should be. But they've altered their hairstyle as well to kind of match how some people in this community fit. And it makes sense when you consider how just about every single Disney movie that's out there, the queer community has virtually no representation. And I know that I'm kind of sounding like an SJW right now, so forgive me about that. But looking at it from a logical perspective, Mulan characters make sense. I mean, she spends most of the movie dressed up as a dude. She convinces some of the dudes dressed up as concubines. So it kind of makes sense. I'm just not really sure about the phrase queer power. I mean, is that supposed to be like queer pride? I think that would make more sense. Or just go with gay pride. But then again, queer, from what I understand, encompasses more than just gay. But in any case, there's that. I don't really have that much of a disagreement with it. I do agree with and support gay rights, and the entire LGBT community for that matter. But I don't know, just the phrase power kind of makes me feel a little, I don't know, just wrong word for it. Okay, and then the next one, Pocahontas, and fuck, I don't remember her name either because of how long it's been. Water is life. I totally agree with that. And I didn't notice this at first. When I was looking at these and thinking of this idea, but you see on Pocahontas' face, she's got these letters on here. I'm assuming that that's in reference to the whole pipeline debate that had been going on for the past few years up in the Dakotas. So I'm going to say this. The local tribes had over 90 years to legally say, yes, this is our land, we want to keep this and have it be part of our reservation. They never did it. The companies that wanted to lay out the pipelining contacted these tribes, be like, hey, we're wanting to do some piping in this area. Can you come to our negotiations so we know where to and where not to have the pipelining? They rejected. And during all these protests, they're claiming that it's all about the environment, but yet when they leave enough trash to make the place look like a fucking landfill. Oh, and for those of you who didn't know, supposedly the site was their ancient burial grounds, but yet they've had archaeologists go over there, and they're like, yeah, there's no evidence that there's a single dead body here at all. So, I don't know. I honestly think that they're a bunch of fucking liars. I still agree with the idea of water is life, which is why I think that the piping companies, the oil companies, they need to do a fucking awesome job with preventing this from being an issue. But I still support the pipes being laid out. I really do. Fuck that shit. Alright, number 3. Aladdin and Princess Jasmine. Yes, I know both of their names. That one has stuck. So apparently they're not too fond of American foreign policies. Well, fuck you. Let's go ahead and tackle these one at a time. No ban. This just proves that these resist people are fucking morons. First of all, the ban was temporary. And secondly, it only included a few countries that were Islamic and a couple that weren't Islamic. North Korea and Venezuela are not Islamic nations. Fuck you, you're stupid. And even still, they were temporary. So, don't be dumb. Please don't be dumb. We can't come to a compromise or anything resembling a compromise if you're being stupid. No wall. Fuck you, Princess Jasmine. You live behind a gigantic ass fucking wall. We're building a wall. Fuck you. No raids. I'm not entirely sure what they're referring to with this one. Are they talking about the military conquests that take place in the Middle East designed to hunt down terrorists that want to kill people in the West because we don't worship Allah? Well, if that's correct, fuck you. We're going to do it, especially if they struck first. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next one before I blow a gasket. Tiana and what's-her-face from The Princess and the Frog obviously doing the whole race war bullshit because they want to cause problems. So, let's go ahead and talk about Tiana first. Black Lives Matter. I hate the organization. I agree with the statement, which is part of why I hate the organization. They don't care about black lives unless the black lives have been taken by cops, whether the cops are white or not, or whether the reason to have their lives taken was justified or not. Even if we were all to take enough stupid pills to agree with Black Lives Matter that every single time a black person gets gunned down by a cop, it's always because white man bad. Even then, the numbers are far smaller than the amount of times that black people kill other black people for any reason, whether it be self-defense or because they're being criminals. So, Black Lives Matter is a hypocritical organization. Fuck them. The sentiment, I can agree with. The group, fuck them. Okay, so I mentioned that I found these pictures on a friend's Facebook post. And I went to the original page where she got this from, because she didn't originally post these. It was one of those sharing situations. And a lot of people were talking about how it's so great that Tiana finally has her natural black hair. It's like, no, the whole curly poofy thing is not natural for all black women, especially ones who are clearly part black like Tiana is. I am willing to bet that her father and her mother also had white ancestors, especially since that was kind of a somewhat common thing. But I don't buy it. I don't buy that that's supposed to be Tiana's hair. I really do think that would have been something that was done just for the sake of the protesting. Now let's talk about her white friend whose name I cannot think of for the life of me. I'm totally cool with her standing behind her black friend, helping her out with the whole race-related protests, if it's a justified one, which most Black Lives Matter protests aren't. It's her shirt in particular that pisses me off. White lives matter too much? No, they fucking don't. I mean, yeah, maybe if we were talking about the days when Jim Crow laws were still around, I can kind of see a reasoning behind that. Nowadays, oh hell no, it's pretty much the opposite, especially when you talk about loony lefty land. So, no, this one I genuinely genuinely believe is nothing but leftist bigotry in action. So let's go ahead and focus on the last one now. All right, so for starters, I do like how this picture has characters from multiple movies working together for their cause. It, in my opinion, shows more creativity put behind it than the others. So maybe I should have had this one done sooner. But, whatever. I've already done started. Fuck it, whatever. As you can see, the subject material relates to climate change. But let's go ahead and focus on the sign behind Nani's head first. According to the descriptions on the Facebook pages, science is not a liberal construct. Apparently, that's what it says. Nobody is saying that, to my knowledge. Now, what has been said that's kind of to that effect is actually climate change, global warming, the leftist push to tax the living shit out of Americans to do what exactly? How is taking more of our money going to save the planet, especially when you've got about 200 other countries that don't give a shit? I mean, I think Canada has been doing enough to show that they actually do care more than us. But when you look at just about all the European countries, they don't give a fuck. Oh, the Paris Accord. Yeah, no. Our regulations without it are more strict than the Paris Accord. Fuck that. And then you've also got countries like China and India that are just really fucking things up. And I really doubt that African nations, any African nations, if they had these abilities, which some of them probably do on some level, they're probably not going to give a fuck about what we think about the Earth. Why would they? So, the climate change argument, as far as I'm concerned, just looking at the sign that's in Moana's left hand, climate change is real. Depending on how you define climate change, I can agree with that. Climate, by nature, is constantly changing. So, I honestly think that that's why they stopped calling it global warming, is because they're trying to cover all of their bases. They're trying to sound less moronic or less corrupt by saying, oh, it's climate change, not global warming. Well, yeah, climate changes. That's its nature, is to change. So the idea of taxing us... Sorry, I had my hands covering my mouth right there. So the idea of taxing us to make things change, it ain't gonna happen. Fuck that shit. That's dumb. And the Green New Deal by AOC. I mean, I'm sure you guys have all heard about that kind of stuff by now. That's so fucking stupid, some of the things that are in that. Replace every building in America with a more eco-friendly version of it? No. Even if we had the money for that, there's not enough time to do that. There's not enough manpower to do it. Even if we were to have all of Latin America immigrate here just to build these buildings, it will never happen, especially within the 12-year frame that AOC thinks that we have left. It's dumb. God, it pisses me off that these leftists don't even think about this shit. Well, let's look at the other sign that Moana has handed, the one in her right hand. Save our islands! Your islands are not fucked because of climate change. Even if climate change were real, they're not fucked because of climate change. They are sinking because they're poorly designed islands that were made by volcanic eruptions. At least most of them. There's one Polynesian island, and I can't think of which one it is, that's made almost entirely of bird shit. Is it... I want to say it's Vanuatu, but I don't think that's right. But in any case, they're sinking because of what they're made out of their own weights. I mean, yeah, you could probably argue that humans being on there doesn't help that much, but they'd probably be sinking even if humans never even knew these islands existed. It's just because of the way that they're designed. And at the rate that they're sinking, they're not going to be going away for thousands of years. In fact, I think the largest one, the actual island of Hawai'i itself, I think they're estimating it to be about 10 or 11,000, last I heard. So, you got plenty of time to get over yourself, okay? Climate change is not making these islands sink more. The islands themselves are making themselves sink more. There's some science for you. Try actually reading a science book. Try actually studying things instead of just what the leftist government wants you to read. Okay? Don't trust the government. Fuck the government. And if you actually believe this crap, blame the government. This kind of pissed me off a lot more than I thought it was going to. I was planning on this being more of a rant about, well, not so much a rant, but more like a rambling about how the left is so fucking bonkers, even when they're making cool art ideas. But yeah, now my head hurts. Fuck, I need a drink. You know, one of these days, I need to do a video where I'm actually drinking whiskey. I think that'd be fucking hilarious. Although I'd want it to be at a time where my son is, like, visiting his mom or something like that, so he's nowhere near here. I mean, he's not here right now. He's in school. But, I also have to go to work in a few hours, so I ain't drinking now. So, but yeah, one of these days, I will make a video while drinking whiskey. In the meantime, everybody, now that it's break time, hopefully I'll have another video coming out in less than 15 days. Until then, have fun, everyone.